It was my senior year of high school, and I was taking on a lot between my classes, work, and dance. I was working on a farm when my back started hurting, and I wasn't thinking much of it, and I would just take an Advil to deal with the pain.
My first reaction to Jess's back pain was probably because she worked. She worked down Porcelli's as a cashier, and she also worked on the farm for agri-science, so we figured she pulled something. She also does dance, and they thought maybe she pulled a muscle.
Once the pain got to a point of being unbearable, I was admitted to Bridgeport Hospital, and long story short, they sent me home with something to deal with the pain and referred me to Yale New Haven Hospital for further diagnosing.
The pediatrician pulled me aside, and she told me she thought it might be Hodgkin's lymphoma. So my thought is, how am I supposed to tell her? How am I supposed to tell my husband?
My first reaction to my diagnosis was pretty much, wow, this really stinks.
It was hard for her because she's such a social and outgoing person.
There were 6 rounds of chemo, and that took place from February to September, and then after that was 6 weeks worth of radiation.
Well, the difficulty was when she had to go for the chemo. She had to go into the hospital for 3 days, and you could just see when they started it that she just turned pale.
They sent me to an outpatient clinic in Guilford where you're set up with a doctor, a nurse, and a social worker. The social worker that I was set up with in Guilford, her name was Bernadette, and she was really great with helping me, get through my diagnosis.
When I first met Jess, she really was not willing to open up or talk.
Bernadette asked me to speak at the Tommy Fund event. The Tommy Fund was started a really long time ago to help children going through cancer and their families.
It was a natural fit at that point. Jess had evolved to the point where she was willing to share her story.
I wrote my speech and I said, I'm totally ready to open up and give my story, and it would be great for people to know where I'm coming from and to know that cancer is not a death sentence.
I think Jess took it in, it made her a stronger person, and she's using that experience to help others.
When I came to Southern, I got dragged to CAC, to say the least, by my boyfriend.
I was talking to a friend, and I told her about Jess. She said, you should come to Colleges Against Cancer. She thought that was just perfect for what Colleges Against Cancer was about. And all of a sudden, now she's president.
So I think me joining CAC and becoming president was just kind of like the icing on the cake with my diagnosis. If I had never been diagnosed with cancer, I would never have gotten, the experience of being in a leadership position where I know I can do something bigger and better than myself.